Hail the Blades, my name is Vartorika. Now that brand is releasing very soon and everybody's kinda out of content, we've talked about a lot of things that is happening in the game right now, and specifically in patch 2.1. I wanted to bring up kind of an old topic that was shown to us before the patch 2.1, but for some reason nobody really spoke about it. This is specifically the negative statuses. So at the start of the version 2.0, we had a little glimpse on the negative effects with the introduction of Spectrophrasal that was put on to Spectral Rover's kit. After that, right before the version 2.1, we saw every other attribute and what their negative effects could potentially do. What does the fact that it was added to Spectral Rover's kit actually mean? It means that theoretically, in a hypothetical scenario, Kuro could rework and add more features, or specifically just buff the older, at least standard units or free units or 4-star units that are currently underperforming. And I wanted to theory craft on this topic. Let's dive into it, starting with Aero Erosion. Aero Erosion reads: certain area attacks will inflict stackable area erosions on enemies. Area erosion inflicts aero damage on the target at regular intervals as long as it lasts, with most stacks resulting in greater damage. So it is literally dot. So right now we have 4 aero characters in the game: Jian, Yan, Alto and Genshin. Now, the first two are performing really good. Jian is still insanely strong, he still is breaking the TOA, he is one of the best characters to play in Viva. And Yan, she is legit like the most universal sub DPS you could have ever found. She's really good in Viva, she's pretty good in TOA, she doesn't deal a lot of damage, but she's so universal that she can be used in the better half of the roster. So we have Alto and Genshin, and I honestly think that they both need a rework. They both wouldn't mind having DOT in their kits. Alto on his missed bullets, every missed bullet would put a DOT on them, which is insanely strong, and Genshin on her Forte or ult. I like ult more, but I believe Forte would put more stacks on that, so it depends on the balancing. This change would make them really strong with the sub DPSs that would allow them to deal damage even outside of the, not outside of the combat, but when they're not on the field. This would turn Alto into a very strong single target damage dealer, single target boss killer, if not one of the strongest. And Genshin's ult would actually do something when cast on the boss. And by the way, also Genshin would be really greatly buffed in her role as a full attack scaling sustain. So now let's move on to the next negative status, which is Havoc Bane. So from the whole Havoc roster, I think that the best beneficiary, the biggest beneficiary of this negative status would be Tao Chi. Now, why Tao Chi? We currently have 5 Havoc characters in the game: Camellia, Rocha, H-Rover, Danjin and Tao Chi. The first 3 are doing really good, they're killing it in the meta. Camellia is insanely strong both in TOA and in Viva. Rocha is really good in Viva, she's fairly strong in TOA, though, Sci-Fi, right? And Havoc Rover just got an insane buff of their S6. These 3 guys, or girls, or whatever, I don't care, they are killing it in the meta. And Danjin, I don't think that the Havoc Bane is really synergizing with Danjin's, fast-paced, high-risk combat style. Tao Chi is a bit clunky, she is heavy, she's slow, and such a slow and heavy nuke that could scale off of her defense would actually benefit her a lot and would incentivize players to even build her to invest in her defense scalings and potentially bring her a bit higher in the meta. instead of, you know, using the not enough popular Saints build that is called Naked, insert any sub-DPS character. Now, the next negative status is Fusion Burst. Fusion Burst literally says 1, 3, 5, 7, 10, kaboom! Sorry. So we're gonna go off of that. Right now I'm considering 2 characters out of 5 fusion that we right now have on the roster and that would get a lot of benefit from this effect. These 2 characters are Chisha and Anchor. Chisha has a lot of potential with this effect, being, for example, put on her Daka state, allowing her to activate like small nukes along her 30 thermobaric bullets that is needed for the boom boom effect. This way she would get a bit more consistent with her damage if she gets interrupted and just wouldn't be allowed to cast the 30 thermobaric bullets and her boom boom. Theoretically, the negative status application could also be put on her regular skill that would bring her quick swap potential, but it might be unnecessary and maybe a bit too strong. Anchor could apply this status either on her enhanced basic attacks in her ult or both versions of her skill, like for example the little shots that apply 1 single stack of fusion burst and the big shots that are in her ultimate that apply like 5 or something. This would make Camellia power uncreep Anchor back into the meta and allow Anchor to be like a less skilled character for people who don't want to learn the game a lot and be able to deal same damage as Camellia, specifically in the single target scenarios. Now the next negative status is Glacio Chafe. I mean, I don't know. I guess Lin Yan, but I have no fucking idea what his skill does. To my knowledge, he has some problems because he can't really execute his combo because it is really like fuck me dead, it is long, but I don't know. Next. Now, Electro Flare was actually the one that everybody was shitting on, and I mean, that's kind of fair. It reads, certain Electro attacks will inflict stackable Electro Flare on enemies. While Electro Flare is active, it weakens the target's attack with more stacks, further reducing their strength. And I was kinda thinking about it right when I saw it, and they phrased it in a way that allows me to think that maybe they thought something else and not specifically attack only. What do I mean by that? Specifically the last line that reads, with more stacks further reducing their strength. And to be fair, every normal human would think, well, the more stacks, the less attack the enemy has. But what if they don't mean attack only? What if further reducing their strength doesn't mean only attack, but also, for example, the vibration strength? Or if taking the word strength literally, maybe it would give enemies less of a chance to interrupt you with certain attacks, which would bring Galcharo really high in the meta, since now he wouldn't need to really worry about being staggered or interrupted during his combo, and it would be executed more easily. Theoretically, if we're talking about vibration strength, maybe also Yuan Wu would be brought in the meta, but I honestly have no idea what could fix this gentleman, and like, don't play Yuan Wu. Now, it's the portion of the vid where I talk about which characters I think need a rework, but it's not really specifically connected to the negative statuses, starting with the fact that I think that Galcharo and Baiji should have their 40 stacks given to them like by their dodge counter, because they are very clunky right now. I also think that Baiji's plunge and Baiji's heavy attack should be reworked, because it is absolutely diabolical. It doesn't feel really good, even though I think that Baiji is not that clunky as Saint does things, for example, but she's still really underperforming because some parts of her kit are literally non-existent. I also think that Baiji's Euphoria, her feather, should have a much bigger range of the pickup because it is too diabolical to do. Then, in my opinion, they should work every pre-2.0 gunner character, specifically I'm talking about their heavy plunge attacks, because Carlotta has it fine and I think it's kind of a reasonable ask. The only character that Danjin supports well enough is Havoc Rover, but unfortunately for Danjin's high risk playstyle there is not really that much of a high reward. Usually Sanhua performs kind of hand in hand. Maybe she's underperforming, but she's usually overperforming Danjin specifically on the lower investment. So I believe that Danjin's outro should give from 3 to 7% more Havoc amp than it does right now. I think they should increase the amount of resonance energy Genshin gets from her forte, because right now in the game she is really hard to build and hard to execute because her ult is it takes a lot of energy, and also I mean her forte is so long that it's really surprising that it doesn't give more ER. Lumi's outro should be also 14 seconds instead of the 10, because 10 seconds just don't do it. And if you think that Tao Chi will be a power grab because she's heavy, slow and kind of clunky, I don't think she will, because if they do rework some character skits, then they should probably be able to also add the Havoc Bane to Tao Chi, so I don't believe that she will be power grab, but it depends on the multiplayers a lot. Now, I just want you all to know that I'm not a game dev of any kind. I'm just saying things that I think would be better for the game and would balance the meta even more, but I might have potentially ruined the meta, so it is what it is, but that's kind of why we're having a discussion here, right? There are some characters that require a lot of work, for example Youhu, Lin Yan or Yuan Wu, but I have no idea how to fix them, I have no idea what some of their kits do, and I don't want to know. So this is kinda all that I wanted to talk about today. I'm fucking out. Hail the blades.